Hi! So I'm going to do the reading for you, but first I want to show you my brand new outfit. Can you see it? I just love it. It's so pretty, right? I love this skirt, and guess what? My friend Kathy got it for me. She's so sweet. So, here's where we were. And I have the bookmarker already ready. We're going to be talking about mammals who crossed the bridge. Mammal species which crossed the bridge. It's worth mentioning here that when we talk about a time scale of several million years, the time that it takes for a species of, let's say, mice to disperse over an entire continent is a mere blink of an eye in comparison. Even if it takes a mouse 1,000 years to disperse from Panama to Tierra del Fuego, that period is 1/3000th of the amount of time that has elapsed since closing of the gap and the great two-way migration of the species. 1/3000th. You might have to ask Ty about that. So I just finished my smoothie. It was very delicious. Guanabana, that big fruit that I showed you that's bigger than my head. It's like green and it has little knobby things on it. And wapino, which is a beautiful tree. I'll show you some pictures one time. So many cool trees here. Anyway, so all species were affected by their encounters with new species, whether or not they actually migrated. Those that did not disperse across the land bridge still had to confront all the new species moving in from the other continent, and this involved competition, predation, infection, and parasitization. Parasiticization. It's a hard word. Basically, they got parasites. All species either adapted or failed to establish themselves under the new conditions quite quickly on a geological timescale, within a few thousand years. A more recent wave of extinctions, primarily of very large animals, took place 10 to 12,000 years ago, leaving a great deal of fossil evidence. It made no difference whether the animals came from North America or South America. Nothing weighing over 1 ton survived to today. The 2 gorilla-sized ground sloths that made the first crossing 8 million years ago are now extinct, as are most of their kin that crossed 5 million years later, including one giant sloth known as Eremotherium. That stood as tall as 4.5 meters. Certain North American species of trees, such as those of the Bombaceae family, are believed to have evolved spines as a deterrent to these leaf-eating creatures. It's true, I've seen them. Only 2 species of tree sloths, the 2-toed sloth and the 3-toed sloth, have survived to remind us of their giant cousins. And by the way, I've only seen 1 sloth in the wild here since I got here 3 years ago. It was the week I arrived, and then I never saw another one. Sad. Armadillos from the south also came in both the size we know today. You have armadillos in Texas lots. And a giant species comparable in size to very large pigs. I have pictures of this from the Natural History Museum in DC. Pretty sure. One day you'll go there and you'll see. Or was it New York? One of those. They're both cool. Toxodonts, which are hoofed animals similar to the rhinoceros, came from the south and established themselves in Central America. One of the few Southern carnivores, a giant flightless bird known as Titanus. There's the picture. Titanus. He doesn't look very ginormous, but apparently he stood at 2.5 meters in height. Once again, you're gonna have to look up the measurements. You measure yourself in feet and inches, and here we use meters. Sorry. All of these large species originating in South America are extinct today. Horses and mastodons originated in North America and migrated to South America. Both became extinct. The horses found in the New World today were brought by the Spanish in the 1500s. I didn't know that. It's interesting. They were tiny, the horses in the beginning. Like, tiny. And you can see that too in the museum for So You Think Evolution Doesn't Exist. Natural History Museum. It's a good one. Horses. Sorry, I had a lot of side notes today. Horses were brought by the Spanish in the 1500s. Mammoths were also found in North America, and you've seen those probably when you're talking about in Texas, because that's mostly where they were. Pretty sure. Mammoths. All kinds of evidence of mammoths and saber-tooths in your neighborhood. They used to live really close to your neighborhood. Yeah, it's true. Weird, huh? Think that. Yeah, but they never crossed the land bridge, so they never came down here. They did, however, become extinct at the end of the last ice age, along with most other large mammals. In general, then, surviving mammals were smaller species, including bison, deer, bears, llamas, and tapirs. These North American species, with the sole exception of the bison, established themselves in South America. Some, such as the llama and the tapir, still survive in the South but are no longer found in the temperate North. Of the South American species, nothing larger than porcupines, possums, and armadillos have managed to adapt and defend a niche in the temperate climates of North America. So, all of your porcupines, all of your possums, and all of your armadillos are from down here. They migrated up to your area. Pretty cool. Other North American mammals that spread as far as temperate South America include shrews, mice, gophers, squirrels, rabbits, skunks, weasels, foxes, raccoons, peccaries, spotted cats, and pumas. So the big cats that we have down here, I guess, are from up there. Interessante. And basically like all of the pesty animals. So thanks. The largest of the felines, the saber-toothed cat, evolved in South America from smaller members of the cat family that originated in North America. Oh, really? Wow. So the saber-tooth and the mammoth didn't exist together at first, but then the saber-tooth migrated up to North America from South America, and maybe that is part of the reason why the mammoth went bye-bye, because it started to get eaten. I don't know. It's just a theory. Okay. The jaguar. Remember we were talking about cats? The jaguar is the largest surviving feline. South American mammals have fared better in tropical Central America than in temperate North America. Duh. In addition to those already mentioned, spiny rats, agoutis, pacas, anteaters, and many different species of monkeys survive in the tropics. These are species that, for the most part, evolved in the Amazon basin and migrated north, always remaining within the tropics. 3 million years ago, there were fewer forests and more savannas than today. So that means like grasslands, just open kind of space, not forests with a lot of trees. This characteristic favored the incursion of the many species of grazing animals mentioned above. As tropical forests later developed, other species better adapted to rainforest environments became established and thrived. Nevertheless, much of what is believed about the landscape of the newly formed isthmus is purely speculative, as fossil evidence is sparse, which means that basically they just made this whole thing up. The division of one ocean into two oceans changed wind patterns, ocean currents, and weather, and all of these changes affected the vegetation and the species depending on it. Extinction of large fauna. When attempting to explain the extinction of large fauna between 10,000 and 12,000 years ago, some scientists have attempted to make a case for climatic cause associated with the end of the last glacial period, about 12,000 years ago. If this theory is correct, why were the giant sloths, toxodonts, mastodons, mammoths, giant bison, horses, and other large animals able to survive 30 similar periods of glaciation only to perish at the end of the last one? In order to find the answer, we must have a look at an extraneous factor, not directly related to climate change, which nevertheless made a very large difference at the end of the last glacial period. That factor is the arrival of Homo sapiens in the Americas. Dun 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 dun! That's us. Author's note: much of the information regarding the formation of the land bridge was gleaned from an excellent book, which you might want to read. It's called Central America, A Natural and Cultural History, edited by Anthony G. Coates. That's C-O-A-T-E-S, Coates. Additional sources for this chapter include The Natural History of Costa Rica, edited by Daniel Jensen. That's a Jansen, J-A-N-S-E-N. So if you wanted to do like a book report or something, then you have a couple of sources. And next time, we'll be talking about hunters and gatherers and early agriculturists. How exciting, right? Oh my gosh. I love you. Mwah! And me.